What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Acura Audio Garage, and today in this video we are going to be talking about our two new products that are meant to work with your navigation equipped Acura or ELS equipped Acura. So we're looking at the MDX from 07 to 13, the TSX and the TL from 9 to 13, and it may apply to other vehicles, but we haven't tested it with them yet, so I can't say 100% that it will work. But what we have here on the table is the 8-channel DSP amp, and then we have an actual just AX DSP from Metra or Access. What these two components allow you to do is either add amplifiers to the factory radio in your ELS or navigation or tech package equipped Acura, or replace the radio in your ELS or tech package equipped Acura. With the help of the 8-channel DSP amp, if you do replace that radio, you do get to keep all your speakers, and you really get to achieve the sound you want with this DSP. If you want to keep the factory radio, but you want to add amplifiers, maybe you just want to add a sub, maybe you want to just want to make your door speakers louder, maybe you want to do a full-fledged system, this AX DSP will allow you to do just that using the factory radio. So if you want to keep your factory radio, but you want to add aftermarket amps, this AX DSP configuration will help you do just that. You can buy the DSP anywhere. What's different when buying it from us is that it comes with the plug-and-play harness for your Acura, and it's going to come loaded already so that you can begin using it. So basically what ends up happening is you hook this into your amplifier. The output from your amplifier is captured by the DSP. It's then translated to a low-level signal. You can run these RCAs to your amplifiers, and you have 10 outputs, so you can run as many amps as you want. Well, here we are at the main menu. This is just the instructions and how to configure it. Now we're going to go into inputs. So you can tell it how to turn on, and if you want to delay the turn on. And this is very important. For your subwoofer output, do you want it to sum the front and rear channels, or do you want it to just grab the subwoofer output? So then we're going to go to outputs. So here are the outputs, and if you want to control them, mute them, or invert them. Then we have equalizer adjust. So your actual, equalizer, so each frequency, how you want to change it. And then you have your crossover adjust, so that you can set a low pass, band pass, or high pass. And then 12 dB, 36 dB, what crossover points you want. So here we have 20,000 hertz. Here we have 65 hertz. So P is going to have crossover, is going to have an equalizer. Position, this is in inches, so it's doing the time delay on its own. It's just calculating it by distance. Then the output is being clipped. This will go into a limp mode where it's going to reduce the output to protect your equipment. So you can set the sensitivity here. This really doesn't come into play with the Acura and a factory radio. The output is never actually driven into clipping, like only very specific occasions, so this is almost never used. And that's it. I mean, there's a lot here I haven't covered. We've barely scratched the surface, which is this device. But when you're adding amplifiers, most of the time people just want louder or more bass. So like a lot of these settings you're not going to even touch. You're just going to get the default configuration we send it with, and most of the time that's good enough. But if you do want to adjust it, you can. The application is in the App Store. You can easily download it, and then right from your phone just adjust what you want. So this is a very convenient solution for someone who wants to add aftermarket amps to their factory radio. It's the outputs of the amplifier is pinned differently across Acuras, but it's the same connector, so we can design it for your Acura or pin it for your Acura. Right now it's pinned for the TL, TSX, MDX, but it will work with other newer Acuras. Again, the connector is the same, so if you have that same connector, or if you're wondering if you do, feel free to send us an email or call us. We'll get back to what we can do for your Acura. So you could use that AX DSP to run subs or any kind of amp. It doesn't have any summing per se for you to control, but it does have some internal summing going on for stuff. I'm not sure in the logic. Try to reach out to Metra to get more information about how the internals work, but I didn't really get anywhere. They weren't going to share that information with me. But I can show you what the output signal looks like. So we're playing pink noise into the factory radio. out of the DSP to our RTA. So our RTA is picking up the signal. You can see we're on the subwoofer outputs of that. So right now our rear speakers, our rear satellite speakers are the only thing connected. With this solution, you can just amp whatever speakers you want. So you can just amp just the door speakers or just the sub, and it's up to you what you want to connect or disconnect or cut. And when I say cut, I mean on our harness. So our harness comes ready for you to connect. It comes connected, but you can cut to disable the speakers you want or the speakers you want to amplify externally. All right, so here in this case, we're just doing a subwoofer. Here's our signal for the subwoofer output. So we're gonna need to do some EQing. I'm gonna do that with you live. Here we go. I have a low pass filter right around 120 hertz. So that's what that looks like on there. You can see it's kind of like a peak at 63 hertz. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna go into here. I'm gonna go to equalizer adjust. I'm gonna go to the sub. And I'm just gonna boost my lower end just a little bit. What I'm doing right now is just adding some of that lower end bass. You really want to do this to your specifications that you want to accomplish, but for my use case, it's just an example to show you what can be possible. So I want, again, more low end, that really low bass. Come on. It's hard to hold it and do it. Okay, there we go. So here you can see my signal has changed. It's more of a, I wouldn't say flat line. I still have a big jump at 63 hertz, so I'm just going to bring that down. Bring 80 hertz down. So now you can see I have more of a equal signal across. Yeah, 25 hertz is still really low, but from 30 hertz over, what a subwoofer can actually play is good. So again, you can use this on all the outputs. So you have left front, left right, rear left, rear right, subwoofer, and then you can set up a center output. It has 10 outputs. So like if you want to do a big system in your NDX, you could easily do it with this. You could set up, you know, multiple amps for chucheros, or like you want to, you know, create a wall of speakers or something. You can get real creative, or you can just do a regular, you know, high power system with aftermarket amps. You're gonna have to leave the factory amp connected. This is all the output from the factory amp captured by the DSP, but this is a solution that wasn't available before that you can use to add subs, speakers, whatever you're looking to do. Let's talk about this DSP amplifier. So we have the DSP 4086. This is gonna do 40 by 8 or 60 by 8 at 2 ohms. So keep that in mind. You want to keep your speakers at 2 ohms to get the most power out of this amp. This amp has 6 inputs that can be high level or low level. Channels of input, and this can take high level or low level input. If you're going to go high level, they also provide these RCA adapters so that you can put your speaker wire into these terminals and plug into the RCA terminal. This amplifier has very limited switches or options on the actual amplifier itself. So you have your turn on mode if you want DC, if you want audio or remote. So do you want to turn it on with 12 volts? Do you want it to listen for DC offset on a line? Or do you want it to actually pick up audio on a line and then turn on? Then you have your input. You have low level, high level, or high 2. This is just the amount of voltage that your source is going to put out. So in our use case, we're going to go remote and we're going to go low. You can see I don't have any other options. Everything else is set. In order to program our DSP amplifier, we have to hook up a USB connection from the amplifier to our Windows machine. Loading the software, configuring it so that you can use it is not very easy or streamlined. If you're a power Windows user, then I'm sure you can figure it out. But if you are a very novice like computer user, it's not going to be something very easy or straightforward. Yeah, you can hit next, install. But I found that on the couple of laptops that we set up this software, when we go next, install, only one of them worked right away. The other two, we had to figure out how to load drivers or some other silly problem came up. So I'm calling that a drawback. You can't adjust this amplifier on the fly. You have to do everything from a Windows computer. And are you always going to have a Windows computer in your car? I don't know, that's up to you, but I can tell you that most people are probably not going to. So now let me just show you quickly what the software can do. All right, so this software has a lot of functionality. I'm going to cover kind of the important things. So the first things first is you can save or write. So if you have a configuration from someone else or a configuration that has worked for you in the past, you can save it and you can load it. After you load it, you can then write it to memory. You can save up to 10 different configurations. So depending on the song, music, time of year, etc., you can change this so that the settings are all changed when you change the configuration that is loaded. The next thing that's very important is your input mixer. So here you want to tell it which input is going to match to which output, or which output is going to grab a source from which input. So in this case, channel 1 and channel 2 are our front left speakers, right? So we're going to go, that's on, that's on. So front left, channel 1, it will be our front left speaker. Channel 2 is our front right speaker. Now channel 5 is our center speaker, but since we don't have a center output from our aftermarket radio, we want it to sum channel 1 and channel 2. In order to do that, we just go over to channel 5, turn it on, and now it's grabbing a signal both from channel 1 and channel 2. You could say it says 50 and 50. That means that channel 5 is grabbing 50% of its input from channel 2 and 50% of its input from channel 1. So this allows you to do summing from each individual channel, and also redirect your outputs, redirect your input to the specific output that you want. So this is big in your Acura, so you can keep your center channel, you can keep those rear speakers playing the tones or frequencies that they're supposed to play, and also keeping your sound the way you want it. So you can shift around your sound stage with some of this. Next is going to be your actual outputs. So these are your 8 channels of output. These are good labels for you to use. So you have rear left, rear right, if you want to label one as sub, if you want to label one like front left, just the tweeter. So if we're talking about TSX has a tweeter on a different line, so it has just the front left tweeter. We also, once we route our input to an output, so we did input 1 is channel 1, it'll begin to highlight if that input is clipping. So as you're tuning your system with your amplifier plugged in into your software and already plugged into your car, you can see what's clipping. You can also delay the signal. You can change the phase. This is pretty handy, the linking feature, where like this is a front left. We're gonna go, this is front left full. Where is it? So front left, so just front left speaker. There's a front right speaker. We're gonna link them together. And now when I adjust the EQ or the crossover point, so here are my crossovers, so let's say I only want the speaker to play from 100 hertz and up, it changes both of them at the same time, so I don't have to go in and change each one individually. And as you saw, I'm able to drag these points to affect the EQ. So here you could set the EQ for each individual channel exactly how you want. If you want, you can change it to a parametric EQ or a graphic EQ. The choice is up to you. So this software is very powerful. Once you get it loaded and working, you can do a lot. All the crossover settings in your inputs and outputs is huge in routing the sound to the proper speakers, so that you can keep your factory speakers while just replacing the amplifier and the radio. You can also achieve the sound that you want. That covers the JBL DSP amp. The way this amp is meant to be used in your Acura is when you have a system with navigation, you can now replace the radio, replace the amplifier, but then keep all the factory speakers in the car. So you get to keep these door speakers, your tweeter, your center channel, your rear door speakers, and your rear satellite speakers. So you'll get to keep every speaker in the car, even though you're installing an aftermarket radio, including your subwoofer. So that's big. You know, when you replace the radio in your tech package Acura, currently you can't keep all your speakers. This amplifier lets you do just that, and it installs in the factory location. You are going to have to run new power and ground lines for certain applications. I can tell you in this MDX you're going to have to run power and ground, so you want to be ready to do that. Your amp will come with a power kit, 10 gauge or 8 gauge power kit, so that you can install this amplifier. If you have a older Acura navigation, so a 2004-5 TSX or a 2004 Acura TL with nav, or a 2005 Acura MDX with nav, Those are pretty simple to integrate with, so you don't need this. This is for the newer ones. From really 07 to 13 is where this amplifier will shine. Also, if you want to keep all of your speakers in any other Acura, this will allow you to do that. So in your TSX, you have a total of 8 drivers. You have 2 tweeters, 2 door speakers, 2 rear door speakers, and 2 6x9s. This amplifier will allow you to control each one of those individually, since it has 8 channels of output. If you have an Acura TL with the 6 speaker system, you get to keep your center channel. Also, you can use the other unused outputs to power other amps. So let's say in your Acura you only have 6 speakers total, so then that leaves you with 2 extra outputs. You could use these outputs to power other amps. So it's perfect for a system where you want to change the factory amplifier, keep the factory radio, but then run aftermarket subs. This amp can help you do all that. It'll make it real simple. It gives you the outputs and remote out. So this amplifier does have multiple use cases. We've seen it be most successful in the tech package equipped Acuras.